Okay, this is the second minor fix video to supplement our first build video. Shout out to Chess Quiz today for pointing out in the comments that we didn't optimize the BIOS to make full use of the rated speed of the RAM we installed. So to recap quickly, after researching quiet Linux-friendly hardware options that would meet my dev and light content creation needs, I decided to go with AMD Ryzen instead of Intel for the CPU. And of course, that decision drove many of the other decisions in the build, including which RAM to use and which motherboard to use. When I chose the XFlare, the G.Skill XFlare RAM, I'm going to just bring that RAM up really quickly. Give me a second. It's this one. Here we go. That's my kit. And you can see it's rated here. You can tell by this number. It's rated at 6,000 megahertz. Okay. And I knew EXPO was something I needed, but I'll be honest, I didn't fully understand what EXPO was. It just was recommended for AMD builds, but you can see here that it is AMD EXPO. So anyway, thanks to the very helpful comment from Chess Quiz today, I dug into this a little more and now I understand what EXPO actually does. Rather than blathering on about it, let me just show you. I'm going to go ahead and go into a terminal window here on Linux. And I'm going to just use my up arrow to pick a command that I've already run. So, which is the dmidecode Linux command. And that is a way to check the system to see what speed the memory is rated at. And if I just go ahead and enter my password really quickly, or enter it correctly, maybe not quite as quickly. There you go. We can see that my speed is 4,800 megahertz and my configured memory speed is also 4,800 megahertz. So I'm clearly not using the 6,000 megahertz my RAM is rated to be able to be used at. So I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna reboot and I'm gonna go into BIOS. So to do that, I'm just gonna do a restart here. And then while the computer restarts, I'm going to hit F2. You can see my new Elgato 4KS screen capture logo. That might be a separate video. All right, we're back to the BIOS screen now. And you can see on this screen, we're showing the memory up here right under info. And you can see that it's rated is running at 4,800 megahertz. And then you can also see the DRAM status here. We're in slots A2 and B2, and it's also showing 48 megahertz here, 4,800 megahertz here. I'm going to show you something that's a little confusing about this screen in a second. But if we go ahead and come down here, you can see EXPO, and EXPO is disabled. So what EXPO is a profile provided by memory manufacturers that the BIOS can use to configure the RAM to run at its rated speed. So to enable the full rated speed of the RAM as defined by the EXPO profile, it's just as simple as enabling it. That's it. That's all I have to do. And you can see that here it does list then that we got DDR5 6000. And all I need to do is save and exit or hit F10. I'll just click it this way. You can see that those are the new settings for my RAM based on that. And I'm now going to wait while it reboots, and it will go through the reboot a couple of times just to get the BIOS correctly set. Okay, and once it comes up, we can log in again. I'm going to go back to the terminal window, which is where we ran the dmidecode command before. I'm just going to run it again. And you can see now that a little confusing that it shows speed is 4800 megahertz, but then it does show that configured memory speed is now 6000 megahertz. So we're now leveraging the full rated speed of the RAM. And just to prove what that looks like also in the BIOS window, I'm going to reboot and go into BIOS again. All right, and now we're in. And if we look up the memory now, we can see that EXPO is enabled. It's still showing the 6000 megahertz here. A little confusingly, the DRAM status still shows at 4800 megahertz. But up here where memory is shown in information along with the board and the chip, the CPU, we can see that it is rated at 6000 megahertz. So I think we are good to go. Thanks again to Chess Quiz today. I learned something new today, and hopefully this will help others as well. Thanks for watching.